Salute. This is Lawrence D. Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. Shout out to everyone that's there. Shout out to Yafi. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Shout out to everyone. Let's get it started today. We had an interesting conversation this Wednesday that just passed. It was actually a really good conversation on the attack of the family. Shout out to all those that was here, those who gave. Don't forget to hit the like button. And we were talking today on the attack of the family. Let me make sure I put it correctly. The traditional family. I can't stand my hands got a little ash on it. I can't stand no ashy hands and you talking with your hands That's the most irritating thing, especially when you do this, what we do. But yeah, let's talk about it today. The attack, what's going on? What's going on, Jay? So let's talk about it today. Get this light on, get one of my lights on, it's not on. Boop, bam. Let's talk about it today. The attack of the family. Wednesday we talked about the whole scenario of the foundation and the structure, and how men are the foundation, and in this culture or in this society, Western society, we have been geared to what's going on, Joe Blast. We have been geared that the family, the traditional nuclear family, has been redefined, remeasured, and everything has changed with what we call the family. Let me get this correct. As my there we go. A little off right there. Let me get this correct. I can't stand stuff that's off. I am a stickler. There we go. So we have been trained and been pushed in the middle of what family is. And what we talked about on Wednesday was very important, because we talked about that men are the foundation. And we said, since those who were listening to what I was saying and only listened to the part when I talked about the women and didn't hear when I talked to the men, so I'm going to call you out. Don't come over here listening to my content if you don't listen to the full context of what I've said. Don't take out bits and pieces where you heard when I got on the women, but you didn't hear when I got on the men. Let me say that again. Shout out to you who took the time to listen, but only heard what you wanted to hear from what I said on Wednesday. So I'm going to turn up a little bit. I got to turn up a little bit. You only heard what you wanted to hear from Wednesday. Oh, you were bashing women. You were getting on women, but you didn't hear the full context of the conversation where I talked about men and women. Once again, let me say this for these YouTube, social media, and all this stuff. Let me just cut through the chase, and I'm gonna get to the family thing. Do not base your I'm not sure I understand. I know I don't understand either. Do not base your opinion or draw a conclusion based on just hearing a sliver of information. Please, 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 please. This is the problem we have in social media today. We have a lot of people who get online or have opinions and never looked at the full scope of what someone said. So you hear 2 or 3 sentences and then you would jump on that and say, oh, you don't like women. Oh, you don't like men. You need to listen to the full context, which is somewhat hard in this day and age where everybody wants everything microwaved. I got to say this. So it's easy to get a bite size of something instead of realizing that, you know what, let me find out what the fullness of what this person said. So once again, someone went in, listened to the content, only heard when I was talking to the women, did not hear when I called out the men. That's their own internal biases that they have. So it's interesting how people, you got to examine the full measure of what something is talk about. Or you can just say, I only heard this part, but I'm sure there's something else. I don't know why people have a hard time doing that in this day and age. It's easy to take a snippet and run with it versus finding out what the truth of the context. So once again, shout out to you for listening and drawing that conclusion about what I said on Wednesday. That all I did is get on women. I cram to understand. Many times when people do that, they're either looking for their bias or they're looking for your bias so they can have something to argue with you about or debate about with you. Please, please, please don't do that. Listen to the full context or the full content before you say something. I'm saying we're in a day and age of a bunch of opinions and a bunch of you know what else, asphalts. So back to what I was saying. We talked about the men being the foundation on on Wednesday, and that women be in the structure, and that a lot of the concrete or a lot of the foundation that men are built upon or what they were taught were not taught correctly, or they don't have strong foundations, or they're chipped, they're cracked, things are happening. In order for that structure to stand strong on there, guess what happened? She needs a strong what? Foundation, and strong foundation. And equally so, the foundation needs a strong structure in order for it to do what it needs to do, so it can support correctly. So even though we assign blame to what? To men and the women, but I think we missed something here. I think we missed something in this day and age. I want to clear something up on these YouTube streets and everything like this. We constantly hear that there's no culture in America, and I'm going to say that's a lie. That's a lie. We do. Hip hop has a culture. United States have a culture. Your neighborhood has a culture. There is culture everywhere. We're designed by nature to have that. But I've seen now what we have did is mislabeled culture and not realize that we're not identified in the correct way, which is we have a dysfunctional culture versus a healthy functioning culture. That's what the issue is. Oh, we have a culture here. We have a culture here, what we do and what we don't do, how we move, what we do. There is a culture. The culture that we have been building on, men, or what we've been taught and not taught, has been diminishing. We have a culture that is designed. There is a dog world, but is a culture where it was never designed for us to work together. So we have a culture here. We have a culture of men. We have a culture of women. We have a culture where we do function on some level of dysfunction together. So there is a level of there is a culture here. But what I'm seeing is, if we look at the landscape of what's going on social media, a lot of men are saying, we don't like, oh, let me say it this way. A lot of people are saying, and a lot of men are saying, we don't like this culture. So what they're doing is, we want to explore other cultures that serves us better. So the attack on the family has started with, yes, the foundation and the structure, but what's the real thing is that the culture has been dismantled. The culture that we have has been dismantled, has been torn apart. We have been given a culture that never was designed to serve us. What's going on? We have been given a culture that was never designed to serve us, never designed to be healthy. It was always to make you at odds with your woman and the woman at odds with you. So while we're talking about the attack of the family, the real attack has been on the culture. That's where the real attack has been. So while we're looking at the symptoms of a dysfunctional culture, we end up blaming the man, we end up blaming the woman. We end up knowing not how to deal with each other. Like I said Wednesday, most men and women don't know how to interact with each other because they were never socialized in a culture that foster having to be together. Let me get my note because this is something I want to get from my notes from today. We were never socialized. You were never socialized to get along with women. And women were never socialized to actually trust and get along with men. That has been part of this culture that has been placed in front of us. And it's seeped inside of the churches, mosques, everywhere else. So many times they try to give you a culture that works best so that you can function. But the reality of it is, We have been given a culture that has been designed to destroy us. That's why we got to have so many things talking about how to get women. Really, that should have took place in the culture of your household. That should have took place in the culture of your what? Of your family. That should have took place in the culture of what? Your neighborhood. But what happens is when there's a breakdown of that culture and the dismissing of the fathers and the demise of the women, the mothers, guess what happened? That culture is never passed down to the child. So what culture has been given to people and given to children is a culture of surviving and not knowing how to work together. This culture was never designed, and that never designed for us to work functionally together. And there's where the problem, that's where the breakdown is. And so when we look at this clearly, we've been passing the blame. Me and you the fault. It's you, woman, you the issue. We got to look, and shout out to the individual who gave me this part of it, this piece of it is this. We have to look at the pathology of how did this culture come to place? How did this person, the pathology of this person, why they can't get along with other people, why they cannot function in a marriage or in the confine of a family. And when you look at the pathology of this culture, it was never designed, created for you to function clearly. It was always designed for you to be dependent on someone else outside of your family structure to tell you what to do. This is what this culture has been given. So most people say we don't have no culture. I beg to differ. We do have a culture. It's just a culture of dysfunctionality. And once you realize that we have a culture that is dysfunctional, you have to make a choice as an individual. Let me find a culture that serves me best, or tenets or customs that I need to take on, so I build my own culture around myself and whoever I date or whoever I marry or wherever the case may be, and my family, so that we can function. See, this is not popular. People don't want to hear this, but this is the reason why we have the issues in dating. This is the reason why we have divorce rates. This is the reason why some people don't get along. They had no culture, or they have no healthy culture. There is a culture, but they don't have a functioning culture. This is the reason why most people don't want to hear this, and nobody's going to say this. Why the Passport Brothers, shout out to them, are leaving the American culture and going to other countries, continents, and countries, because they like the culture that's been placed inside of the women. That's just a job. Let me say that again. This is the reason why. So everybody want to know why are the men leaving? A number of men have said, I'm leaving. I don't want to deal with the women here. They don't want to deal. It's not that they have an issue with the women. They have an issue that her culture and how she was raised does not serve her or him in the best light. So they go to a place. What's going on, Cerise? They go to a place where the culture fosters family. This culture does not promote family. I don't care how much you watch Disney. I don't care how much you watch Little House on the Prairie. I don't care how much you watch whatever you watch. This culture does not foster family. So if it doesn't foster, guess what it does? It attacks the family. So it's time for us to really wake up. Wake up. There should not be, this be very clear, this, and I'm gonna put it out. There should not be a section to teach men on how to deal with women. That should be in the culture of the family and their neighborhood in where they interact on how to deal with women and for women to know how to deal with men. Because the culture was not in place, this is what happens. No one can get along. Everyone's passing the blame. Or you create a culture, and I'm going to say it, you create a culture of masculine women and feminine men. I didn't say sex. I'm saying masculine women and feminine men. Why? So that they don't ever come, it never fully clicks into place, because the culture was designed to do that. So when you say there is no culture, there is a culture. When you see the girls twerking on the table, that's part of their culture. Look, there it is. That's part of their culture. So so that's part of their customs. So when we say there is no culture, there is a culture. So when you see the girls twerk, when you see gang violence, that's part of their culture. Bloods against Crips, culture, customs, things that they do. They were born and raised to do that. It is their culture. So when we say there is no culture, that's a lie. We have a culture. It's just a dysfunctional culture. It does not serve the greater good of the community and the people around there. So what we try to do is, prior to all of this, the church and the mosque and the temple serves as a means to strengthen the culture of the family. Mosque, church, those religious institutes serve as a means to strengthen the culture of the family. But what has happened now, the current culture has slowly crept into the religious institute and actually shifted the culture of the church. I mean, they shifted the culture of the family. It just, and so what is also happened is it has now the culture has also shifted into, of course, the children. If we look, shout out to BGS, he did a video last night that was really, really, really interesting. The resources does not equal submission. The wife runs the show, correct, to culture. He did a shout out to BGS, and I can't give justice to what all the stuff that he said, but he said something that was quite interesting. We think that resources equal submission. It does. And let me read this comment because I think it's good. Great point made. Culture and traditions act as a constraints on the members not to fall out of line. Also protects the same views and standards. When this is lost, leads to where we are now. Great point. Appreciate that. I like that. But BGS says something. Go watch the video. I'll probably post a link to it. But shout out to BGS. Resources does not mean, just because you have resources doesn't mean that you're going to get submission from a woman. And a lot of guys have been teaching that. All you need is money to get these women, and they're going to be your honey. That's all you need is money, and she gonna be you. Or when you leave with your, let me get some game. When you leave with your pocket, guess what's going to happen? You're going to only rent that woman for the length of how much money you have in your pocket. Let me say that again. When you lead with your wallet, you're only going to lead her at the length of what's in your pocket. So while you'll get a degree of submission from her because of the money that you have, it is not true submission because she was never taught what true submission was, nor have she seen it. So all you guys who want to lead with your resources, just do that. This is no indictment for you not to get resources and for you not to be the man, but your resources does not guarantee that the woman is going to be submissive to you. Let me comb my beard on that one because y'all don't want to hear that one. I have to say that because too many guys. So let me get what BGS said. How is it a man making less than say $100 an hour? I mean, $100 a month with several kids. Submitted to that man with no problem. What is it that this woman would say 5 kids and this man only makes $100 an hour, but he has no problem with her being submissive to him and being a wife to him? What is the difference? I got to scratch my own head on that one. What is the difference? What is the difference? The difference is her culture outside of resources, outside of financial means, have taught her this is what she needs to do. Equally so, the culture has taught the man this is what you need to do. But what we have done is we have pulled the rug off of it, and we have created a monster that is tearing the very fabric of not just this cult, not just this place we call United States, but other places too with this mindset. Because we are trying to propagate a culture that doesn't even work. It doesn't work. If you can tell me how it worked, we have created more people who need therapy, who are in mental hospitals, on drugs, who are abusive, who have done things because the culture that we have pushed has definitely destroyed the family, but it destroyed the individuals inside of that family because of this culture that we have. Let me read what my dude Jay wrote, because this is a good point here. Great point made. Culture and tradition acts as constraints on the members not to fall out of line. Also protects the same views and standards when those laws lead to where we are now. Great point. I want you to get that. So while we talk about the attack on the family, we've been fighting blind leading the blind. We've been fighting the women. I'm gonna get over here and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say what Cynthia G said, kill all the babies. We're fighting the fight on the wrong level. We're fighting a fight of words on the wrong level. We're fighting the fight on the wrong level. We're fighting surface fights. Men fighting men, women fighting women. Guess what? She or he has not been in the culture that fostered real family. Let me say something that I wrote today. Shout out to Dr. T.S. Johnson. He did a good breakdown of The Woman King. I didn't see the movie. Let's be very clear. Shout out to Deliska. I didn't see the movie. I'm not going to see the movie. I'm not going to see the movie. Don't ask me to go see that movie. Don't ask me to give an assessment of it. You already know I'm not going to see the movie. I don't care who's in it. I don't care if Superman was in it. I'm not going to see The Woman King. But something he said that was quite interesting from his takeaway from the movie. And I think it's part of the culture in his assessment of the movie. And he said something very, very interesting. In this culture that we're in, women have been, oh yeah, we're going to forget about they, them, and their, you right, included in the, let me say that was wrong what they did to Dr. Umar. I'm gonna give it what that's what they did. That was wrong. That was wrong. How can someone else who was formerly with you now turn on you and now attack you? But that's a whole different conversation. Let me get to Dr. T.S. Johnson. He said something that was very interesting. Because I'm saying I don't care, y'all may not like it. Oh, you shouldn't say that. You should see it. You should see the woman king. You have a different view and this and that. Pretty much you can smell it. You can smell it. You can smell it a mile away. Maybe shout out to Deliska. Maybe you should see it and you have a different assessment. I pretty much know what the assessment is going to be. I pretty much know. I know the narrative that's going to what culture they're trying to push. But he says something outside of the woman king that's very important. Because I don't want to talk too much about it, then it gives more light to it. Women have been socialized to see men as problems. That struck me really hard today. And it made me think. Women have been socialized to see men as problems. How do you get socialized? You get socialized through a culture. Woo. The same actor who played Michelle Obama was right. Interesting. And this is no indictment on the woman king. Salute to the actresses and actors, things like that. I heard the cinematography is good and all like that. But you understand the whole narrative. After she got away with murder for 7 seasons. You begin to understand the whole mirror. Women have been, this is with Dr. T.S. Johnson, because, people, I'm not a doctor, maybe I'm not qualified to speak on this, but I'm talking about culture and family. But I want to get this. Women in the Western culture have been socialized, that means processed through, to see men as problems. Also, they've been socialized that we don't need men, and men have been also socialized in this process through the culture that they are not needed by women. Now, if you have been socialized and conditioned that as a woman that you do not need a man and that men are the problem, and men believe that now they are no value to you as a man, and that I've been socialized to believe that you only look for me as a utility and nothing else, what do you think that kind of socialization happens inside of a culture? What does it do to a family? And I know the argument. I hear it in this ear. You know what I hear in this ear? I hear the women saying, and this is no indictment against women. I'm just telling you what it is. Not my girlfriends. We don't think like that. We don't talk like that. We don't move like that. But your actions exhibit that, because you've been socialized in a culture that's designed for you to never, ever trust a man. And equally so, men have been socialized in this culture to feel or to be thought as if they're never to be trusted by women. So they act accordingly. So we have created a culture of men and women from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, who have been socialized to realize I don't need a man. I can do it by myself. You know what? Forget all this. I get another man. I'll get Billy Bob. Our families have been disrupted since forever ago. Yeah. So what happens is, if you've been socialized, woman, and if you've been socialized, man, that you are useless to the woman because she's been socialized that you are the problem. Do you ever think a family will ever work? Do you ever think that they will ever get along? Do you ever think there will always be turmoil? Because you have been conditioned to what? Never see eye to eye. What's the difference if we don't trust each other this time around? Right. So you've been conditioned through socialization. I don't need a man. And the man's been conditioned. Oh, she don't need me. You've been conditioned, some men, let me say this to some women, the men, to never be the leader. Maybe let me make sure I say that again. Let me say that again. Some of you men, since people want to come in parts without talk, been conditioned or socialized to never ever be the leader. You have never. There's no traditions. There's no religion. There's no socialization. There's no culture placed in the fabric of this foundation as men for you to be the leader. Since people say I don't get on men, go look at another page. Men have not, and I ain't about to be crying about no men. We know we don't do no cry baby. Ain't no sob story over here, another sad story. No, you were never socialized to be leaders. If anything, you've been socialized to stay under the nipple of your mother. And so what happens is, once you move from your mother, because you've been socialized that way, you look for the nipple of the next woman, which is either your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever you messing with. Y'all don't want this, man. You are being conditioned never to lead, but to always suck. Let me say that again. You've been conditioned to always suck at the nipple of a woman and never lead a woman. I hope they make a little shot of that because they didn't catch that. And if you're constantly sucking at the nipple of the woman, her breasts will begin, if she's not nourished, will begin to dry up. The ducts will begin to close, and you will become a pain to her. Let me say that again. If the baby is constantly sucking at the nipple of the mother and the ducts are either clogged or they're dried up, it becomes a pain to that woman. And a lot of men have never, ever took the binky out of their mouth because they have never been socialized or in a culture that fosters for them to be leaders. And now they have become a pain to women. Y'all don't, maybe I don't take both sides. Maybe LDA don't say both sides of it. But this is the reality. When in here she has the power of been given away. Men better wake up and show her true nature. Correct. Thank you. So while we can point the fingers at the women, many other men, you still sucking at her nipples, drying her because you were never socialized or conditioned to be the leader, provider, and what? Prophet in her life. So all you have done is cause her pain. And then you give her a child that's going to suck back on her nipple again. Tough, I know. It's like my grandfather's titty is tough. It is what it is. But equally so, the woman has been socialized that she does not need a man in this culture. And if someone, I don't care who it is, especially a man, has to feel that he is at least wanted by the woman, and when you tell a man after so many times you don't want me, I know we got some simpletons who would do anything for the woman. I don't like you. I'll buy you flowers. I don't like you. I'm going to give you a car. She shows him a little leg. Oh, I'm going to do this. I know the simpletons would do that. But a real man, if you say, hey, I don't like, the woman say, I don't like you, I ain't down with you, bye, I'm out. But when you've been conditioned and socialized woman through this culture to not need a man, that men are the problem, what we have is a serious issue. Uh-oh. Please let me put, I wish I can put a dance and a bear to go across the scene, go across the thing. Men go where they're accepted. Let me say this. Let me say that again. If women, let me say it so people say you're being too hard. Let me lower my voice and say it this way. Put on my radio voice. If women have been conditioned and socialized to not see men as problems and realize they've been socialized in this culture that women, that men are the problem, are problems, and that they don't need them. As Blackjack said, they're going to go where they're accepted. And if they go where they're accepted, guess what's going to happen? They're going to leave the women who said they didn't need them, who looked them as a problem. And once again, we have continued the cycle of destroying the family. We have continued the cycle of destroying the family. I don't care. If you want to understand the man, women who listen in the clouds, who listen everywhere, learn to accept that man. None of us are perfect. Men and women know that. But learn to accept that man for who he is. It is not your damn right for you to try to change him. But if you've been socialized, and this is the thing, you can put on a smile and a dress, and you can put on a sundress and move them hips side to side. But if you've been socialized that men are the problem, he's going to run away from you. And then we got to go a little bit further, because I think Jay put this in, it's really good. The culture, if a woman and a man, let me go to the woman first. The woman's been cultured correctly. She's cultured, she's been socialized on how to be a wife. So it's amazing of the people, men and women. I want to be married. I want to get married. I want to join together. What culture do you come from? What is your pathology that you come from? That you think that you are mentally, spiritually ready for you to be married when you have not been properly cultured socialize to be a wife, to be a husband. You can quote all the scriptures you want. He that find a wife, find a good thing, and find favor from the Lord. He that find a wife, and find a good thing, find favor from the Lord. Has she been in the culture of wives? Has he been in the culture of husbands? Many times the reason why the family falls apart because there's never been a culture set by the family around them. As long as this disrespect is not there, miss me with that. Offer peace as well as a deal breaker, and be honest with yourself. You got to realize, and you're right, it is the hyena pack. Woo. Woo, man, that right there is the epitome of Western culture that is seeped inside of the churches, the bars, the temples, every different places. Is we have created a pack of hyenas out here. And if you know, as I explained, I did a whole teaching on it. The hyenas, in the hyenas hierarchy, the men eat last, and they're normally the weaker ones. And the hyena female has longer genitalia than the men. What is that? How is that corresponding with what we see in our culture today? Could that be, and I didn't see the movie, what we are experiencing in the Woman King? I'm just saying. In actuality, they've been cultured to lure men into families that are beneficial to be left, and the benefits to be left. Right. So you got to think about this. And I know most people don't want to deal with it. Oh, you getting on the women. As much as I hear women, we winning. No, y'all ain't. The biggest lie told to women, and we the family is coming apart, is the culture has been telling women that they are winning. How are you winning when you don't have your men by your side, or there to protect you? How are you winning? How are you winning? I'm gonna tell you the reason why they give that whole scenario, why they say they're winning. And they are the bottom of the food chain in the comparison to their equal predator. That is right with the hyenas. But let me tell you how let's get this way out there. Why there's an attack on the family. And I want you to really get this. They give this to the women that they're winning. Ooh, they ain't gonna like this. And they probably gonna come in right when I say this. They say the women are winning, or the narrative that they give to the black woman. Let me say it slowly. They say to black women and to women, Western culture, that you're winning when you're just when you become a replica of your man and not the true version of the woman that you are. Let me say that again. They'll tell you, woman, that you are winning when you become competition to your man and become a different version of who he is and compete with him. Because they know if the man is competing against the woman, they damn sure ain't winning. Will women be able to hold their own without the law and the media pushing their narrative? We know. So why they push the narrative, and then the family is hanging, because now, and this is not to say women shouldn't get degrees, shouldn't be doctors, shouldn't be doing anything. This is not. This is, don't get that. Don't get that. Don't come over. You saying women shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be getting no degrees, and it should be pregnant barefooted in the kitchen. I didn't say that. But when they say you winning, they never said you winning. Black woman, as a black woman, they only say you winning when you become a black woman who's winning in the costume of a black man. No, that's not true. That's not true, LDA. That's not true. You can't be saying that. You're coming against your idols. Because those very same entities are about to be flipped on women. Correct? Correct? What's going on, Fear Soul? Good to see you. So I am not, please get the degrees. Please go get that. But what they have done, they had a stick up. They'll say you winning. They're going to rob you of your femininity and turn you against your men. You don't believe me? Look at the numbers. Go do the research. Many times when, let me put it this way. So, okay, everybody, you said this. Sometimes when women get into particular offices and different positions, they pull up other women, not all, and not the men when they do that. That's not true. You can't say that. Check the numbers. The sisterhood becomes, whoa. Blackjack, I know you don't want me. I got to say this. Because you said a pack of hyenas. This destroys, this is, this gonna set it off. This gonna mess it up. I gotta say this one. I gotta go golfing today, so I'm trying to be nice. Let me make sure I say this calmly. They say you screaming, you get mean. The sisterhood has become, not only for black women, for women in large, has become your new family. And guess what has happened? Men have become disposable. Set up the breach your security. Adding your security, our security is fractured too. Yeah. Let me say that again. The sisterhood has become the new family to the women. The sisterhood has become the new family to the woman, to the women. Black, white, yellow, whatever, green, good, whatever, has become the new family. And they have taken, and I'm going to say it as raw as I want to say it. They have taken men as an old used condom and flushed him down the toilet. The ones that put you over there has never left your family. Let me say that again, because I know it's raw. Sometimes you got to say it that way so you can get it. So you can get it. The sisterhood has become your new family, and you have now taken the men and you have used him like an old condom and flushed him down the what? Toilet. Because he's disposable. He was only used for fun, and you had to run. And therefore, the family is tossed on his head. Because now, while you're part of the sisterhood, sister, you have forgot that you are a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter in the community. Flip it around, LDA. And now the men have been conditioned that the sisterhood becomes before family. So now they change their game or their tactic, and all they're good for, oh boy, y'all don't want this, is for you to be used for women and never, ever look for family. Woo, boy. Let me say that again. Never ever. So men have been now socialized. Hey man, forget it, man. Sisterhood and family, that's their family. I'm just gonna get in, get mine, and get out. You just as bad as the women who believe the same thing, the statements I made before. You are only disposable to the woman, and you like it. You think that's what you deserve, that you're supposed to be disposable. So you would tolerate yourself, man, because you've been conditioned and in this culture to what? Say, oh, that's all I deserve. While you are now just as bad as the problem, because you run away from family just as much as the women run away from family for the sisterhood. Because if you really put it down, you would demand, this is what we're going to do as a family. When I was a kid, my dad and mom, they were there. One of the things we used to do before dinner, this was part of our culture and customs, we would pray before we ate. I thank you, Lord, for the food. Thank you, Lord, for the food. I can't remember the rest. I should know it by heart. We had to say it all in unison because it was part of our culture inside of my house. It was part of my culture inside of my house. This is what we say. Thank you, Lord, for the food, bless the food, Jesus' name, amen. This is what we had to say. It was part of our culture. Now, my sister was the youngest. All the kids know that prayer because my father and mother set the tone of the culture inside of their house. Do you see how important it is? First, as you men, because you mothers don't have any culture at all. You don't have a culture that fosters family, because you have a culture. But you don't have a culture that fosters family. You have a culture of hyenas. You just as bad as the hyenas, and you like Black Jack said, you're at the bottom of the barrel, and you're okay with that. Because you've been socialized, brother, to not know what you deserve. Brother, you've been socialized to be at you fought from the 30s, from Jim Crow to the Civil Rights Movement, to get from the back of the bus, only to come home and be in the back of the bus in your home. Whew. It's like game paying gender. Let me say that again. You fought in the 30s, to the 60s, Jim Crow, and after slavery, Jim Crow, and then you went through civil rights. We got to get from off the back of the bus to the front of the bus. But then now you sitting in the back of the bus in your home and you like it. I like it. You okay with that? It's time to wake up, men. I'm saying this, and it's not. Make sure you get the word correctly. And I thank you, Blackjack, for giving the definition. This is not misogynist. That means to hate or despise, dislike women. This is not misogynist. Chauvinist, maybe. Y'all better stand up and take y'all place, man. These women are only doing what we men are allowing. I don't care how much they say, we can do our own, we can get this, we can do this and this and that. If the men collectively say, hey, we ain't doing that, guess what's going to happen? They'll buck a little bit, but they'll fall in line. But what we're not talking about, for us with the attack on the family, is the culture of the Western world and of the women, and particularly some Black women, and their hatred for Black men. My Andrew. Their hatred for anything of Black men. As much as you want to come with the argument that Black men have been in the patriotic position in the United States, that is not true. They've never been in that position. But let's talk about why that hatred towards men has destroyed the families. It has crippled the families because what happened is, my Andrew, yep, it's there you go. Miss Andrew. Nobody want to talk about that. Everybody want to talk. Men are misogynist. Men are so misogynist. Look at Andrew Tate said. He's misogynist. He's misogynist. Oh my God, he's so misogynist. You get on everything and talk about women, but nobody wants to talk about it. And if I was to say this, then you say I'm bashing women. No one talks about the women who create Miss Andre in the community. Let me go a little bit further. The Miss Andre in the Black community. Miss Andre that's in the Black church, in the mosque, the temple, wherever you worship. Black men get beat down, get best turned before anything happens to our Black women and children. Beat down. No one talks about that. No one talks about that. See, everybody will run from that. Somebody's sending something. No one talks about the hatred that women have for men. Men getting beat down right in front of their wives and children. No one talks about that. Everybody wants to talk about how misogynist men are and the whole narrative and how this has destroyed, most of all, our precious little girls. I have 3 nieces. No one talks about how this affects the little girls. No one talks about how this hurts them, damage the image of a man, of a father, of an uncle, of a cousin. No one talks about that. And how this has strategically destroyed the family. The misandry. While you want to talk about misogyny, go look up that word. Add it to your vocabulary. How that has also destroyed the family. And many women, even though they may not say it, they're not misandrous. They have the perfume of meandry on them, and they don't even know it. And a real man can smell it a mile away. Oh, she don't like men. She don't like men. She don't like men. She don't like men. Nope, nope, nope. And while she may have the curves, hips, fingertips, and weave or no weave or with hair, whatever the case may be, her attitude, the way she comes off, shows that she has misandry all over here, all over her. That's why guys are not buying into this whole soft summer or soft girl era. No. Oh, yes, they mask it with words like strong, independent, feminist. I see that so many times on dating apps. I'm strong, independent. You like men, really? Or you like girls? If you think, okay, cool. But no one wants to talk about that. You know why? Because we want to sweep it on the run. No, women are nice like sugar and spice. No, y'all ain't. No, y'all ain't. Don't say I didn't get on the men. Because there's a bunch of men, especially on these YouTube streets, who do not like women. But I'm talking about the misandry inside of the black community, but also inside of the women. See, it's painful when the rabbit has a gun or the mirrors turn on the black woman. I already know the argument. I'm not like that. My friends are not like that. We don't even act like that. We love men. They're the best things to slice bread. But your actions and the way you move show something different. And because of that actions and the way you move and what you've been conditioned and socialized through this culture, guess what has happened? You're going to run men away. Going to run men away. They really like men's money, right? I'll say it again. Some of you young men are destroying these innocent young women too. Yep. I agree. So how does misandry plays a part in the destruction of the family? Because, as they would say, because I used to bake, is baked into this culture. You got to understand that. Misandry, as much as try to hide it and cover it up, it's baked in. If you slice into it, you're going to taste it. If you slice into misandry, you're going to taste it. I don't care. I know your friends may not be like that. Or the girlfriends I know are not like that. The women I know are not like that. My children are not like that. Baby, it's baked into you. It is part of this culture. It is part of this culture. And if it's baked into this culture, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be passed down to the next generation. And then you're going to have never a functioning family, or a family that will be together but will never ever click. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, it's the men. Don't come over here and talk about if the men would step up. I don't want to hear that argument anymore. If the men would step up and just be men. I'm telling you, don't come over here telling me if the men it would step up. Don't you do it. Don't you come over here and tell me if the men was just step up. If the men would just do what they need to do, if the men would do this, if the men would do that, if the men would do this, if the men would do that, if the men, I'm tired. I don't want to hear that mess anymore. If the men would just get better jobs, if the men would just make 100K a year, if the men would drive a Ford F-150, if the men have tennis shoes, if a man do, don't come over here with that money. Don't come over with that. Don't you. Let me say it again. Don't come over here if the men would do this. If the men would step up, if the men would do this, if the men, it's funny how it's easy to say if the men would do, but I never hear if the women would do. If the men would just, act right, if the men would stop being hoes, if the men would stop having sex with all these women, if the men would just want to commit, if the men would get married, everything. I'm fear sold, man. I'm about to lay the link. I know I got to go golfing today. Dude, don't give me, if the men would do this, if the men, I need to do a little, I probably got to do get a little clip. If the men would do this, if the men would step up, if the men would do this, stop. See, it's easy to say if the men would do. You ain't never heard what the women would do. Oh, you sound like you biased, LDA. I'm not being biased, but at the end of the with Jesus Christ, if the men would do this, what are you doing? If the men would step up, if the men would say this, these men don't know how to step up. Why would a man? Please, somebody, please, in the chat room, we're going to have a little question and answer time. Why would a man step up to this? Why would the man step up to try to correct that? Please tell somebody, like my grandfather was, please. Why would a man step up for that? Why would a man get his stuff to deal with that? Why would a man if the men would do this for that right there on the, somebody make that make sense to me. Why would the men step up for that right there? Why would a man step up with bad behavior? Why would a man step up for lack of femininity, for strong women? Why would a man step up? Why would a man step? Please. It don't make it doesn't make sense. If the men would step up, he gonna step up for that. Please tell me. I read somewhere a woman was demanding $5,000 for her friends in a divorce. Come on. Why would a man step? Please, this is the destruction of the family right here. You want men to step up for bad behavior, non-cooperation, lack of femininity. Why would a man step up? Please tell me. I know it's not your girlfriend because I know that's what's going to be the. Why would a man step up for that? Somebody, please make that make sense to me. And equally so, women. Why would you go for that? Why would that? I can't understand that part. That baffles me. How we push this narrative. If the men would do this, if the men, I'm gonna say it again, if the men would stop being hoes, if the men would stop laying with these women, if the men would stop doing this, but no one ever says if the women, the moment you say strong, independent people don't need people to step up. Woo! That's accountability we need to be on up to, right? I'm just saying, I'm just trying to make sense of this. Why this is destruction of the family, the attack of the family, because this has been the culture. But really, you want me to step up to that? You want me to be a lion tamer or a hyena trainer? I mean, really. I mean, really. Sound like a bunch of fluff. Right. Their true nature. Why don't they just follow the men then? Right. If the men would do this, if the men and equal, I heard that so much. I'm like, oh, come on. The reality of it is, the reason why they say that, and I'm gonna leave Shirley up there. The reason why they say that is because they don't see themselves as the problem. And when you don't see yourself as the problem, or that you're subpar, you're going to always project your lack or your insecurities or what's not there inside of you. Woo! Woo, boy. Yeah, I've seen that. They even messing with PNB Rock situation, saying his girlfriend didn't play a part, even if she laced the location for dudes to run up. Lack of game and vetting is very, and he didn't have security. Very important. Jay Prince put that in. The guy didn't have security. He's wrong too. Yep. I'll leave the ignorance to the ignorant, not going to waste my time. So it's important. While we and I'm just saying, it's like you're getting on the women and you won't get on the men. No. P&J thing was completely on him. He had a instinctual feeling of things about to go down, and he failed to secure himself. Right. He should have had security. My point is saying this. Let me get back to what I'm gonna get. The culture, you can't expect nothing from nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Da, 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 da. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You cannot expect you. So let me say this to sum this up today, because I got to get ready. Don't get mad at the woman, brothers. Stop getting mad at the women. Stop yelling at them. Stop fussing. Stop it. I admonish every man. Stop complaining about women. Stop getting mad at their behavior. Stop saying that they this and they that. Stop it. Don't get mad at the women. No more. Stop pointing the fingers at the women that they ain't doing this, they ain't doing that, they ain't doing this, they ain't gonna do that. Stop. Don't get mad at them. Don't get mad at the women. Don't get mad. If you understand anything I said today, you realize that she has been socialized in the culture that does not include you. You have been socialized in the culture that you don't need her. This would stop the pointing of the fingers. Let me say that again. Don't get mad at the women. Don't fuss. Don't argue. Don't debate them. It feels good because you want to get them straight. But once you realize that she's been socialized in the culture that does not foster her to be a wife, to be a mother, to be by your side, don't get mad. Don't try to fix if they're not trying to be fixed or trying to get as Patrice O'Neal would say, not trying to get the medicine, don't give it to them. We spending too much time on individuals who are not worth our time and our space. Let me say it again. Don't get mad at the women. Don't fuss and fight with them. It's not even. I watched some debates earlier this week. Nope. You going to still believe what you're going to believe, and I understand deeply now that you've been socialized to not to be a wife. You've been socialized, man, never how not to be a husband. You've been socialized how not to work together. So I understand it. I'm not going to fuss with you. I'm not going to even debate with you. I'm not going to even debate with you. I'm not going there. So when you watch Cynthia G and Dr. Umar, realize Dr. Umar should have stopped. And I think he said it on the video he did afterwards. She needs help. She has relationship hurt there. As much as you can cake it up around Cynthia G, you can cake it around that you've been doing this. You are a psychologist and all like that. Same with you men. Many of you men have never been conditioned or socialized to be husbands. You've been socialized to be hoes. You've been socialized in a culture that never taught you to have family. And for the record, for those who are listening, the numbers prove that Black men are the best fathers in the place to be. Her daddy was whipping her mom in front of her. Wow. See, I didn't know that. So while the numbers don't lie, they said who the best fathers are Black men. Who are more married? Who's married? There are more Black men who are married than Black women. And who's filing divorce first? Black women. So all this talking, all that stuff on him, it don't mean nothing. It means nothing. You understand her conditioning. Like you said, Blackjack, I understand her pain. Her daddy was whipping her mama in front of her. I understand her pain. Black men most involved in their children's lives. Yep. Black men are the most involved in their children's lives. I know you're going to give an example, but not little Ray Ray over there, not Tyrone, not little Keith over there. He's not. You're going to always find an exception to the rule to disprove what the rule is. This has been the downfall of the attack of the family. I'm going to talk about something light next week. We're going to maybe just have fun next week. And as you see, we are going to move into that community where we can talk a lot more freer, because I got some things you can't say on YouTube because it's gynocentric over here. Plain and simple. Gynocentric. You don't know what it means? Go look it up. You say anything that's patriotic, you're going to be what? Unfortunately, we are the most approving of feminist ways, right? Because a lot of men are. Woo, why are you gonna make me say this? A lot of men are closet feminists. Let me say it again. A lot of men are closet feminists, even you Black men. Yes, you are. We're not talking about in the sense of feminist rights either. I hear you. Well, Dave Chappelle said it. No, a lot of you men are feminists. You don't even have the balls to stand up for yourself, nor stand up to that woman. You can't even rock the boat. You can't even agree with somebody who's you can't recruit if you can't even agree with a woman. If you can't even disagree with a woman, how the hell are you going to be able to disagree with a man? Out of empathy for the female of the family, female families. Yeah, a lot of men are closet feminists. Watch, especially when it's time to get that kitty cat. This is Lawrence D. Adams. Let me cut this music off. Shout out to everyone that's here. If you have, leave a comment, like. I know I said some things that are inflammatory. You may not like, may not agree. You may say that's your opinion. I don't agree with that. Wonderful. Start your own channel. We'll be out of here. Let me put Big Shirley up there. Yo, what's going on, baby? Why should you step into that? Step up to what? Maybe you not even you overweight. You want me to step up? You don't want to cooperate, but I need to step up. Oh my God, really? Please spare me. You want me to step up and you ready to argue for every point? No. You want me to step up for what? No. I ain't stepping up to that. It's crazy. They want us to step up to what? Bad attitudes? Bad hair weaves? You trying to lead me? You want to be the woman? You want to be the woman king with me? Nope. Ain't gonna be able to do it. Yep, male feminist, the goofiest sugar honey iced tea ever. Get out of here. You want me to step up for what? I ain't stepping up for that. That's why men are saying, we are leaving on the next train. Don't know when I'll be back again. Peace. Gonna step up. You want think about this. You want me to step up for what? Because you just a woman? Baby, please. There's more women than men. You are outnumbered. You better realize you competition. You got competition. You better step up. Baby. You want me to step up for that right there. I know this is the end of the show. I know I gotta go. But you want me to step up for what? For a bad attitude? Bad weave? For non-cooperation? No, I ain't stepping up for that. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. Oh, okay, I gotta go. So they want to step up for that. No, not here. I am not stepping up for that. You can call me weak. You can call me whatever you want. But why should I step up for something that ain't worth stepping up to? And don't say it's valuable when it ain't valuable. It seems valuable to you, but it ain't valuable to me. Let me say that again. Don't tell me it's value when I look and there's a box of sugar honey iced tea. You want me to step up for what? You want me to step up for Fierce Soul, Joe Blast, Blackjack. They want me to step up for what? For that? Why would I step up for something like that? When you can be easily replaced, when you don't realize that the true value is not in the outward adornment, but in the inward adornment of the woman. Why should I step up for something like that? I cram to understand. I don't know. Understand. Why would I step up?